But it was spoken to at the council by the Archon in this manner. My lords, the legislators, your councils, except the dictator only, are proper and native springs and sources, you see, which, hanging a few sticks and straws, that as less considerable would otherwise be more troublesome upon the bank of their peculiar channels, derive the full stream of business into the Senate, so pure and so far from the possibility of being troubled or stained, as will undeniably appear by the course contained in the ensuing order, with any kind of private interest or partiality, that it shall never be possible for any assembly, hearkening unto the advice of information of this or that worthy member, either instructed upon his pillow, or while he was making himself ready, or by the petition or ticket which he received at the door, to have half the security of his faith or advantage of his wisdom, such a senate or council being through the uncertainty of the winds like a wave of the sea, nor shall it otherwise mend the matter by flowing up into dry ditches, or referring business to be better examined by committees, than to go farther about with it to less purpose, if it do not ebb back again with the more mud in it. For in a case referred to an occasional committee, or which any member that is desirous may get himself named, and to which nobody will come but either for the sake of his friend or his own interest, it fareth little better as to the information of the Senate than if it had been referred unto the parties. Wherefore the Athenians, being distributed into 4 tribes, out of which by equal numbers they annually chose 400 men, called the Senate of the Bean, because the ballot at their election was performed by the use of beans, divided them by 50s into 8 parts, and every 50 in their turn for 1/8 part of the year was a council apart, called the Pretends. The Pretends in their distinct council, receiving all comers, and giving ear unto every man that had anything to propose concerning the commonwealth, had power to debate and prepare all the businesses that were to be introduced into the Senate. The Achaeans had 10 selected magistrates, called the Demiurgids, constituting a council apart, called the Synarchy, which with the Strategos prepared all the business that was introduced into their senate. But neither the senate of the Athenians nor of the Achaeans but would have wondered if a man could have or should have told them that they had been to receive all comers in discourses, to the end that they might refer them afterwards unto the Pretends or the Synarchy, much less unto an occasional committee exposed unto the catch that catch may of the parties interested. And yet Venice, in this, as in most of her orders, excels them all by the constitution of her councils, that of the college, and of the other of the Deci. The course of the college is exactly described in the ensuing order, and for that of the Dieci, it so little differs from what it hath bestowed upon our dictator, that I need not to make any particular description of it, but to dictatorian power in general, and the use of it, because it must needs be of difficult digestion unto such as puking still at ancient prudence, show themselves to be in the nursery of mother wit. It is no less than necessary to say something and first in the commonwealth that is not wrought up nor perfected. This power will be of very frequent, if not continual use. Wherefore it is said more than once upon defects of the government in the book of Judges, that in those days there was no king in Israel. Nor hath the translator, though for no king he should have said no judge, abused you so much, seeing that the dictator, and such was the judge of Israel, or the dictatorian power, being in a single person, so little differs from monarchy, which followed in that from the same cause there hath been no other effect in any commonwealth, as in Rome was manifest by Sulla and Caesar, who, to make themselves absolute or sovereign, had no more to do than to prolong their magistracy. For dictatoris imperium quasi numem. Nevertheless, so it is that without this power, which is so dangerous and subject to introduce monarchy, a commonwealth cannot be safe from falling into the like disillusion. For unless you have an expedient, in this case of your own, and bound up by your providence from recoiling, expedients in some cases you must not only have, but be beholding for them unto such whom you must trust at a pinch, when you have not leisure to stand with them for security, which will be 1,000 times more dangerous, and there can never be a commonwealth otherwise than by the order in debate wrought up unto that perfection. But this necessity must sometimes happen in regard of her natural slowness and openness, and the suddenness of assaults that may be made upon her, as also the secrecy, which in some cases may be of absolute necessity unto her affairs, whence Machiavel concludes it positively, that a commonwealth, unprovided of such a refuge, must ruin, for her course is either broken by the blow, in one of those cases, or by herself, while it startles her out of her orders. And indeed, a commonwealth is like a greyhound, which having once coasted will never after run fair, but grow slothful. And when she comes to make a common practice of taking nearer ways than her orders, she is dissolved. For the being of a commonwealth consists of her orders. Wherefore, at this lift you will be exposed unto danger, if you have not provided beforehand for the safety of your report in like cases. Nor is it sufficient that your resort be safe, unless it be as secret and quick, for if it be slow or open, your former inconveniences are not remedied. Now, for our imitation, in this part, there is nothing in experience like that of the Council of 10 in Venice, the benefit whereof would be too long to be shown in the whole piece, and therefore I shall take but a pattern out of Gianotti. In the war, saith he, which the Venetians had with Florence in Casentine, the Florentines, finding a necessity in their affairs, far from any other inclination in themselves to ask their peace, sent ambassadors about it unto Venice, where they were no sooner heard than the bargain was struck up by the Council of 10, and everybody admiring, seeing this commonwealth stood upon the higher ground, what should be the reason of such haste. The council, upon the return of the ambassadors, imparted letters unto the Senate, whereby it appeared that the Turk had newly launched a formidable fleet against their state, which, had it been known to the Florentines, it was well enough known they would have made no peace. Wherefore the service of the 10 was highly applauded by the Senate and celebrated by the Venetians, whereby may appear not only in part what use there is of dictatorial power in that government, but that it is assumed at the discretion of that council, whereas in this of Oceana it is no otherwise entrusted than when the Senate, in the election of 9 knights extraordinary, giveth at once the commission, and taketh security in a balance added unto the council of war, though securer before by the tribunes of the people than that of Venice, which yet never incurred jealousy. For if the younger nobility have been often girding at it, it happened not so much through the apprehension of danger in it unto the commonwealth, as through the awe of it upon themselves. Wherefore the graver have doubtlessly shown their prudence in the law whereby the magistracy of these councillors being to last until their successors be created, the council is established.